Are you feeling overwhelmed, staring at that absolutely massive pile of notes on your desk, wondering how you let it get this bad and how on earth you're going to get through all of that content before your mocks? Trust me, I've been there and I know how bad that feels. But what if I told you that there was a better, faster way to get through all of that revision without completely losing your mind? Today, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Hey everyone, for those of you new here, I'm Izzy, a medical student currently taking a gap year, and having sat both my A-levels and GCSEs still fairly recently, I know firsthand what it's like to go through these exams and how difficult the mocks can actually be. Sometimes the mocks feel harder than the exams themselves. I'm here to tell you that it's okay and that there is a way around them and to do as well as you possibly can in them. I can already hear some of you asking the question that I asked myself and I know everyone else around me was asking when we were sitting our mocks: do they actually matter? Well, if you clicked on this video, I'm guessing you already know the answer to that, but what you might not know is how crucial they're going to be in you achieving the success that you want to achieve. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can use your mocks as your secret weapon to achieving the grades that you know you're capable of. Before we dive into the step-by-step guide, let me explain to you why these mocks are going to be your best friend when it comes to your exam success. Think of it as like a dress rehearsal, but with zero pressure on the final result. You can use these as a practice run and basically imitate the exam conditions. Same hall, same invigilators maybe, same teachers, same students, whatever. The same kind of feeling of anxiety before you actually step into that exam hall without knowing that the outcome is going to determine your future. This is such an amazing opportunity that people don't really think about enough. You're literally getting a free chance to fail with another chance after that. And between getting your mock papers back and actually sitting your final exams, you have like this golden period where you can completely change what the outcome of that final grade is. If you don't utilize that, then you're making a big mistake. And honestly, mocks are just an opportunity for you to learn from your mistakes, which is such a crucial skill that you're going to need for the rest of your life. So if you're ready to crush these mocks, let's get into it. Okay, first of all, the foundation for any successful revision plan is having a good timetable and structuring your time as well as you possibly can. And the 3 steps that I use to do this is: number 1, I create a digital timetable on a Word document, on Google Calendar, whatever it is, for every single day up until the first day that my mocks will begin. That's what I did for my GCSEs and for my A-levels and for my UCATs and for my BMATs. Literally every single exam I've sat, I've made a timetable like this. And this timetable isn't going to be super detailed or anything. What you're going to have is just simply the subjects that you're going to study that day, for how long, etc, etc. Not the topics, not the subtopics, not all of that detail, just the subjects. And the way you're going to determine what subjects you're going to study each day is you're going to make a list of all of your subjects from worst to best and allocate more time slots for the subjects that you're worst at than the subjects that you're better at. This is an example of what one of my GCSE mock revision timetable looked like. Then once you've done that, you're going to create a Word document for every single subject and write out every single topic of that subject in that document. I know it sounds quite tedious, guys, and like it's going to take up a lot of time, but I promise you in the long run it's going to make your revision so much easier and it's going to allow you to do so much better in those mocks. So once you've done this and you've written out every topic, come up with a simple traffic light system highlighting all of the topics that you're worst at in red, the ones that you're okay at in yellow, and the ones that you're pretty confident in green. Then once you've done that, you're going to use your original timetable to decide what topics you're going to start with every single day for each subject. This way you literally don't have to spend hours thinking when you get home from school, what do I need to revise today? What am I bad at? Blah, blah, blah. Because you've already spent, I don't know, 3 hours coming up with that timetable. That's going to save you so much time in the long run. Basically, start with your weakest topics and work your way up from there. That way, also, if you've missed anything out, when you get to the exam, it's more likely that it's going to be stuff that you were already confident with to start with, and it won't have such a huge impact on your grade. Next is study methods. And if you want a more detailed and comprehensive list of all of the techniques that I use to revise for particular subjects, go and watch my study playlist that's linked down below. But what I found from studying years and years and years and really refining my revision techniques and the methods that I use is one that is absolutely foolproof is active recall. You're going to want to incorporate some kind of active recall into your MOCKS study routine because that's what you're going to want to do for your actual exams. This doesn't mean writing out decks and decks of flashcards because realistically, if you have 2 weeks, you don't have time for that. But what you are going to want to do is as soon as you finish these mocks, start writing out your flashcards if that's something that you know you want to do. Or what you could do, which is what I did for my A-levels, is I used pre-made Quizlet decks and imported them to my Anki using an extension, which helped me so much to just cover the basics of every single subject I was doing basically. Active recall ensures that you're actually engaging your brain in that revision and you're actually learning something, not just sitting there staring at a pile of notes, not engaging with the content and not getting anything into your head. You can also use blurting, which is a really great technique where you write out every single thing that you remember from a particular topic and then go over your guide or textbook and see what you missed out to also focus on the things that really need your attention. If you're short on time, what matters is you using your time wisely. I cannot emphasize this enough. You need to make sure that every single minute you're revising, you're learning something. So if there's even a second in your revision where you feel like you already know this, you're not learning anything, do something else. Do something that actually needs your time, needs your attention for you to get the grades that you want to get, especially if you're a high achiever. So yeah, that's my advice. Take it or leave it. But yeah, that's what I did for my mocks and it really helped me. This brings me on to my next point, which is using your mocks as an opportunity to refine your study routine. Maybe you're someone like me. I'm personally a night owl. I work best at late in the evening. That just seems to be when my brain is most engaged, when I'm most awake. If I try and get up at 5 a.m. and do 3 hours of revision before school, it would never work for me. So this is what I did that worked for me and allowed me to achieve success in my real exams. So use your mocks as an opportunity to figure that kind of stuff out. Maybe you have a pre-exam ritual. I know I had a few that I used to do that I would believe would allow me to succeed in that exam, and that just made me feel much more confident when I was going into it. Even if it's placebo, whatever, I don't care. Just figure out what works for you because everybody's different and it's best to figure that kind of thing out now before the real thing. Now for the most crucial part of this entire video, what you're gonna do post mocks. The first step is learn from your mistakes in your papers. So as soon as you've got back those papers, go over it, look at what you lost marks on, and start coming up with a list of topics or particular subjects actually that you've done badly in and that require your attention before your final exams. And as soon as you've got this list for anything, start working on that right now. There is no time like the present and time is on your side and it's precious and it's valuable, and the thing that is going to determine how you do in your final exam is how well you've utilized your time. So if you start using it well now, you're guaranteed those grades that you want when it comes down to it. No excuses, guys. Get home from that day that you get back your mocks, start learning whatever you need to learn right then and there. Step 2 is ask for help. Go to your teachers and ask for feedback really on how you think you did in your mocks, what topics they think or areas actually that you need to focus on more, and what would be a good way of learning these things before your final exams. Ask them for practice questions, ask them for past papers, ask them for maybe a one-on-one lesson if they're going to be willing and nice enough to do that. See if there's any after school support classes. I think that's what they're called. We used to have some of them in my school before A-levels and before GCSEs, just so that you can really fill in any gaps in your knowledge, because strengthening your weaknesses is what's going to set you apart from the other students. Learning from your mistakes, that's what's going to get you those grades. Use the help that's already there. Number 3 is optimize your study methods. So look at the papers that you think you did worst at and think about how you revised for those particular papers or those topics. The ones where you didn't do so well at, maybe you're using a method that doesn't work for that subject. It might work for another subject. Every subject is different, but you want to really tailor your revision method per subject, per even topic within that subject, because you're going to learn every piece of information differently. Blurting might work for you to learn, I don't know, theory in chemistry, for example, or to learn content in biology, but it might not help you learn practicals. What might help you learn practicals might be to watch a video explaining how to do that particular practical. Now, the final tips for success that I wish I knew back when I was sitting my GCSE mocks. Don't burn out, number 1. That one is so important, because I spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours revising for those mocks in GCSEs, probably definitely more than I revised for my real things. I was so burnt out once I'd finished those mocks that I low-key I needed a break, you know? I needed to not look at another exam paper or textbook for weeks after that. So if you go that hard that's the result, it's not worth it, you know? You need to save your energy so you have stamina, because exams take stamina. Save your energy, don't burn yourself out, basically. Number 2 is study in groups. I found studying in group so beneficial when I was going through my mocks, because it's that thing of motivation, right? You kind of feel like you don't really need to be revising for this, so sitting for hours in your room is just feeling like such a chore and such a waste of your time. And if that's the case, I recommend you take yourself out to a nice cafe with your friends, hang out in your breaks. My friend mentioned actually in one of my other videos, she said use the Pomodoro method, and I think that's actually really good advice. So I used to personally do 50-10 because I felt 25-5 was not enough time for me to focus. But in those 10-minute breaks, I would chat to my friends, and I would work super hard when I was actually working, because I knew that there was a reward after that, which was hanging out with your friends. And take a longer lunch break or whatever, so you can actually have a catch up and not really feel isolated when you're revising, which is so demotivating. You just don't want to look at another book. Like, honestly, you feel like it's ruining your entire life. Go revise with your friends. Finally, just manage your stress. This is so much easier said than done, but use mocks as an opportunity to build your confidence when it comes to exams, not to nurture your anxiety. Your final exams are going to be anxiety provoking. Exams are anxiety provoking. Like, there's no question about it. They're going to stress you out. So try and use these mocks as an opportunity to see that you can sit an exam without it feeling like the most stressful thing in the entire world. And honestly, the more practice that you get sitting exams, the more naturally that will come to you. Because there's no consequence to your future or to your final grade at the end, I think it's a great way to just sit an exam without feeling so stressed and so anxious about it, because there's so much riding on it, basically. And that's all my tips, guys, for today's video. That is my complete guide to acing your mocks. I hope that if you follow the steps that I mentioned, you do as well as I know that you can do. Drop a comment down below with your biggest concerns surrounding your mocks, because I'd love to help with anything that I can. And like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And if you like this video, make sure that you watch the other videos in my study tips playlist for more tailored revision techniques to each subject. But yeah, that's all I have for today, guys. I know you're all gonna smash it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.